All right, hey everybody, this is Gaines with Duval Financial Group. Full disclaimer, even though this is just a fun video for my friends, I am not giving investment advice to you. I haven't met with you. I haven't looked at your situation. I'm just going to share some information based on some reactions to some Facebook stories that I recently shared. I asked a question and did a poll on, do you think taxes are going to go up? And ironically, I had some people that said no. And then I did a poll that said, Roth IRAs, good or bad, right? And or yes or no. And some people said no. And so I thought it would be good to just share some information from a non-marketing perspective. So not something that my marketing firm put together for Duval Financial Group, or something that I found to help sell stuff or anything like that. Just some information that I found on the infamous Google, right? So I did some searches and I'm going to share some really cool information. And I'm going to share with you the difference between a Roth versus a traditional IRA. What does IRA even stand for? Most of you think you know, and I thought I knew for many years. Even when I had all my securities licenses and I was brand new to the field, even then I thought I knew what IRA stood for, and I really didn't. I'm going to talk about tax rates real quick, the national debt, and then I'm going to spring something on you at the end that's going to blow your mind and hard to wrap your mind around, but it's important for you to know. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, the difference between a Roth and a traditional IRA. So both of those are vehicles that you can put investments inside of or savings inside of, and you have the choice of, and they're designed for retirement. So they're designed for you to pull your money out after 59 and a half years old. Otherwise, there's some additional tax penalties. But the Roth says, hey, I want to pay taxes today. Then I put my money in the Roth. Then my money grows or doesn't, depending on what investment it's in, right? But when I pull my money out after 59 and a half, it's 100% tax-free to me, okay? A traditional IRA is the opposite. The traditional IRA says, I'm not going to pay taxes on that money now. I'm going to put my investment inside of the IRA, not pay taxes on it now, let the money grow or not grow, whatever it's invested in. And then when I pull my money out after 59 and a half, I will pay ordinary income tax on that. So those are both good things for some people. They're bad things for some people. I'm not giving you advice on what's best for you, but I'm going to share some information that I just found today organically doing some quick little Google searches. So let's first talk about, what does IRA stand for? Now raise your hand if you think IRA stands for individual retirement account. Okay. I'm going to raise my hand because I thought that for many, many years. But the reality is while a lot of people refer to it as that, in fact, if you even go to Investopedia, that's what it says it means. But let's go straight to the source. Who created, or who is in charge of how an IRA is handled tax-wise? And that is the IRS. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go to the irs.gov website. And there it is. This isn't me making it up. IRS.gov, retirement plans, individual retirement arrangements. So, and a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA are individual retirement arrangements that you're making with the IRS, and they're going to tell you how that money is going to be treated now, or how that money is going to be treated when you retire. So very important. And I know it could just be a play on words, but to me, an individual retirement arrangement with the IRS is something I really want to look closely at and make sure I'm doing the right thing for myself. So the next thing, and this was just from a little Google search, I'm going to close this bar. The next thing that we want to look at is federal income tax brackets. So actually, I'm going to pull over another link here. This is from NerdWallet, okay? So this is the 2021 federal tax brackets if you are married and filing jointly. Now we could look at single. So if we meet with a client that isn't married, or people that file separately for whatever reason, these numbers would be different. But in 2021, if you make, and we're just going to use around $90,000 a year annual income, combined household income. If you make around $90,000, you're going to be in the 22% tax bracket. Now, it's very important that you understand how taxes work. I will tell you that I've had lots of clients, including a family member of mine, who had a phenomenal CPA for 100 years and always said, I don't want to go to the next tax bracket, because if I go to the next tax bracket, then I'm going to pay higher taxes on all my money. But that isn't true. So the way that marginal tax rates work is, if you make between $0 and $19,900 a year, you're going to pay 10% taxes on your money. But if you make more than that, you're still just going to pay 10% on this first 19,000. Then from 19,000 to 81,000, you're going to pay 12% on that money. And then from 81,000 up to 172,000, you would be paying 22% taxes. Now, the old school way of thought is, hey, when I get to retirement, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. So if I'm making $80, $90, $100,000 a year, when I retire, I'm probably going to make $50,000 a year. So I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. And that worked out really well for my parents, our grandparents, depending on your age, people that worked in the 80s, 90s. We're going to look at that in just a minute. And now they're retired. They are in a lower tax bracket, because most people are paying less taxes today than they have ever paid. And it's not just the wealthy. We're going to talk about the wealthy as well. But everybody is paying much lower taxes today. Not everybody. Most people are paying lower taxes today than they have ever paid in their lives. So let's look back at historical marginal tax rates. So if we go back to, let's go to 1980. If I made what we just looked at, let's say around $90,000 a year back in 1980, I would be in the 59% tax bracket. Now look at all these different marginal. We've really simplified it over the years, but at the end of the day, their first, $3,000 was taxed at 14%, and then it kept going up and up and up. But if you were making around $90,000 in 1980, you would be in the 59% tax bracket for your higher income. Now, I understand that $90,000 in 1980 is very different than $90,000 today. And I get that. We're not going to even go down that road right now. I'm just trying to show you how marginal tax rates have changed. So keep in mind, 59% was the tax rate in 1980 for somebody making $90,000. Now let's go fast forward. Let's go to 2010. In 2010, if you were making around $90,000, you would have been at 25% tax bracket, okay? And then like we just saw a second ago, you would be in a 22% tax bracket today. So do we see the trend that taxes continue to go down? Now let's look at for the higher income earners. So the highest marginal tax bracket. So currently the highest tax rate that anybody is going to pay, federal income tax rate, is 37%. If we go back to, again, 2010, it was 35. So right around the same. It's kind of slightly gone up for the higher income earners compared to 2010. But in 2016, it was up to 39%. But let's keep going backwards. In the 80s, it was 50%, in the mid 80s. In the 70s, it was 70%. And let's go back here to the 50s. So 1950 through 1963, over 90%. So you've all heard stories of Ronald Reagan saying, hey, after he made a few movies and made a couple $100,000, he stopped making movies that year because every dollar he made over a certain amount was taxed at over 90%. So why would he keep working, right? So we've had tax rates in the 90% previously, where currently the highest marginal tax rate is 37%. I think that's interesting, and it's definitely something to think about. So when you go back to the question of Roth or traditional, if I put my money into a Roth IRA, I'm saying I'm going to pay taxes now. And then when I pull it out, I'm not at the mercy of the IRS as long as I'm 59 and a half. And whatever my money is worth, then that's my money that I get because I already paid taxes on it 10, 20, 30 years ago. If I put my money into a traditional IRA, I am banking on the fact that taxes will go down, or I will go down into a lower tax bracket. Again, that used to work really well, but let's talk about one more big factor and then I'll be done here with this video. If we go back to, let me share my screen once more. This bad boy right here. This is our national debt. So while taxes have continued to go down, our national debt continues to skyrocket. Now I've got a really cool slide for all of my seminars where I insert presidents' faces in here, and the looks I get are funny, but the point I try to prove is that while our vote is very important, our vote doesn't seem to really affect this national debt problem that we have. And in fact, if you go to usdebtclock.org right now, this is our national debt. And just in the 20 minutes that we've been watching this video, our national debt has gone up over $50 million while you've been watching this video. $50 million, $2.7 million per minute. Just pull out your stopwatch and give yourself 1 minute and watch us go from 82 to 83 to, right? It's a $2.7 million a minute. So the question you have to ask yourself is, if our national debt keeps skyrocketing, and every economist out there says that that has to be fixed, we got to do something about it, and our taxes are lower than they've ever been, and most economists will say that our taxes need to go up, do you really want to put your money in an individual retirement arrangement with the IRS in something that they're going to tell you what your money is worth in 10, 20, or 30 years when you retire? Now, again, I'm not giving you advice. I'm just sharing information with you. In order for me to give you advice or help you with your situation, we'd have to sit down one-on-one and look at your current situation and what makes sense for you. But at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and educating yourself on these subjects before you blindly put money into vehicles is super important. Hope this was valuable. Please share this video. Have a very blessed day.